Hi guys. So first I wanted to start off just by saying how unbelievable the kid keynote speeches were. I thought you guys did so well. It was so encouraging. And to my man Duncan who led the workshops upstairs a few minutes ago, there he is. Well done, brother. So I thought it was great. So thank you all for inspiring me to do this today. So, starting off, I'm Geoff. I'm the founder of Green International, which is the first student-led social enterprise. And I'll get into what that is in just a few minutes. My phone. So, I am a world history and politics teacher by trade, so I feel compelled to kind of open with a little history lesson. I know you're thinking, but I wanted to kind of get you to think about what the past, present, and the future was 100 years ago, and then hundreds and hundreds of years before that. If you were born in that era of time, your life was planned out, more or less. You knew exactly what you were going to do. Your life was going to be the same as your father's life and his father before him. The life expectancy was about 30, 35 years. There was no real innovation. You knew where you lived was going to be where you ended up. There was a very predictable life that you were going to have. That was for the majority of human history. The bow and arrow was the pinnacle of technology. The only real innovations in that way came with bigger bow sizes and different arrow tips. But again, it was the same technology. And then the Industrial Revolution happened. And that brings us to the modern day. The past, present, and future is evolving unbelievably quickly. To kind of drive this point home, that is actually the phone that I use today. Here it is now. And when I first came to Thailand, nobody really cared. This was, by the way, the year the iPhone came out. No one really cared about seeing this phone. A lot of people had it. Color screen, alarm clock, it has a calculator on it. It's pretty cool, right? But as the years went by, I started getting more and more stares. And when I went to my school this year, some of the kids I'm teaching, and I just checked the time, they're like, wait, what just happened? What is that thing in your pocket? And I told them it's this phone that I've been using for 10 years. Again, 10 years, the technology's changed that far. And that relates to education because we're educating you for a world that we don't understand because things are evolving so unbelievably quickly. Yeah, and the problem with this is things are happening so quickly that we can't even evaluate the impact that change is having. We don't know what we're doing to the world. It's moving so fast. What will these inventions do? What is the world population? It's booming. What's going to happen when we reach 9 billion people? You know, what's going to happen when there's more plastic in the ocean than fish? What's going to happen? Things are happening so quickly. So that's why education matters now more than ever. So if you follow the news recently, to me a very sobering report came out about a month ago. And it was that the UN estimates that you have about 12 years left to make real change regarding climate change, or else there will be irreversible damage done to our planet. And that's something you might have heard for many years now. But to me, the scariest part of that whole thing is the idea that in that report, and they said, the experts said it's probably not going to happen, because they see the way that energy supply is controlled in the hands of a few very powerful organizations. They see that people just have this apathetic attitude towards change. And they just say, look, it's probably not going to happen, so buckle up. That's essentially what we're trying to talk about here. So, shocking to think about. So, just consider that. I've been to a bunch of international schools, including some of yours, with my team, Duncan, and some others, and we've asked this question when we go to these schools. I just want you to think about this for a minute. As kids in the 21st century, what is your role in society? Now, just for the sake of time, I'll give you some of the answers that kids usually give me. Do homework, don't get into trouble, obey my parents, don't stay out late, right? And that's where it ends. But my next question is, can kids make a real difference in the world? Of course, I gave this keynote at the end of the day after I've been listening to all of you guys make some real changes and have some real passion towards some really important issues. So obviously kids can make a difference. And to me, some of the most inspiring stories are these ones. And to me, I'm from the US, and as a lot of you know, there's a lot of gun violence there, right? It happens all the time. Unfortunately, it's become commonplace. But something different happened at Parkland that I think is worth discussing. The same routine, the politicians, we need to ban guns, and the other side says whatever, and nothing happens, it disappears, and no one cares about it anymore. But this time, a bunch of kids got on stage, and the entire world watched and listened, and I think that's really inspiring. Is it not? I think it is. And then this just happened a week ago, a bunch of American kids, and half of our country denies climate change, which is embarrassing as an American. But in this same sense, a group of kids decided to sue the Trump administration, which I thought was amazing, because this is their future. And they're taking this into their own hands to actually do something about it, which I think we can all learn from. A couple more questions I want you to think about before I get into what Green Green is. I want you to think about, what is a classroom, traditionally, right? This setting. To me, I want you to think about a classroom as being Bangkok. The city of Bangkok is your classroom. Inside these four walls, these flat surfaces, and a few pictures of things you've made in class, reimagine the classroom as the entire world, and reimagine the people in it as your teachers. And that brings me to, what is a teacher? To me, a teacher is anyone who has something to pass on. Not just people like me who have a teaching certification, but anyone in this room. Consider these things about yourself and your role and what you're doing and how you can impact others. And speaking of which, this is my boy right here, Remy. Where is he at? There he is. So we opened up our second hub, and again, I'll get into what Green Green is in a minute. But when we opened up the second hub, this kid had to make a business call. And that was his assignment, not just to answer some questions, but to actually call a company and get answers made. And this kid was terrified when he made this call. And at my first hub, a bunch of kids were terrified to do similar things. But when Remy did this, nervous, but after he made that call, as the call was happening, he gained more and more confidence as he was speaking. Until I could actually hear it. I could hear the confidence in his voice by the end of the call. Put the phone down, walked around the room, was like, yo, I just made a business call, man. Like, he was like bragging to everybody, trying to show, what did you do? Calling them out. But then he had to make another business call because we needed more knowledge, more information. And that time, it was just night and day, a complete different experience. He called up the phone, super confident, said what he needed to say, got the knowledge, wrote it down, and we acted. This is a picture of his first phone call, and I thought that was a really important moment in his life, as one of those times where he actually looked at adults eye to eye. So that brings us to Green Green International. So the world needs motivated, passionate, informed citizens to address real needs of this planet. We're going through a time that we've never seen before. We need you guys to act now. One of the reasons I started Green Green as a teacher is because I'm teaching about stuff that I love, I'm passionate about, but I know a lot of you are going to forget as soon as you guys, as you've heard many adults say, are more talented, knowledgeable, and passionate than most of the adults that we know. And here we are making you sit in wooden chairs, memorize things, when we have wasted talent. Like, why not use that talent? So what we tried is I put together a group of kids based on their interests, based on their talents, based on whatever limited history and work experience they have. But that was not the essential question in their interview process. It was, how do you feel about plastic waste in Thailand? If you answered the question a certain way, you got it. Because that's what we need, passionate kids who are not afraid to advocate for change. And that's what we do. We try to ban one-time use plastics in the city, because as you know, it's an ocean of plastic and it never goes away. It's mounting and mounting. It's become such a problem that we just become indifferent to it. You walk into 7-Eleven, every single thing in the store comes in plastic, and we're just like, what can we do, right? I feel you, because I do the same thing. And that happened when this pilot whale washed up on shore a couple months ago, kind of opened people's eyes, right? Why do we need to ban plastic? It's commonsensical. So, we were meeting with our kids, and we had a discussion about Earth Day. Earth Day is coming up, and we really need to do something. We need to, this is our chance to really put ourselves out there and use the time and the holiday for our advantage. So we came up with an idea of using a bag monster to gather people's attention. There I am in this picture at Asia Teak. I'm wearing 700 bags, which is the equivalent of what the average person in Thailand uses every 3 months. Just as a visual way to connect the dots, that's why we had this, and it's an eye-catching gimmick that we used. We walked from Tongla all the way to Siam, and then we went from there all the way to Asia Teak. And down this pathway, which you can see all these images on our website, through this whole journey, we met people, and it got people's attention, and our picture was everywhere. But the point was to raise awareness to something that we seemingly don't care much about. And then after this happened, we got all kinds of attention. The United Nations found us, and they reached out to us, and they wanted us to participate in the World Environment Day initiative, which we did. And to me, the most amazing thing about this was that is Andy. I don't know if there's a laser pointer on this. Anyway, that's the kid Andy. And he was a 10th grade kid at the time, and he spoke in front of hundreds and hundreds of diplomats. I thought that was absolutely amazing. When was the last time you saw a 10th grader speak in front of the United Nations? And he's no different than any of you. He just has passion and vision, and he really wanted to make a difference, and there he is. Then after this, the United Nations worked with us again in Central World for their art display, bringing notice to plastic waste. Then, a bunch of international schools, many of the ones in this room we've spoken to and led workshops with, to kind of get kids aware of the impact they can make. Here we are at Shrewsbury, this is BCISB, I believe. But here's the reality. Most of us in this room are very privileged. This is not the reality of what school is like for the majority of the world. And anybody who's lived in a developing country knows this. Most of the people in the world live in a country where education is abysmal. Most of the people live in countries that have some form of indoctrination, some nationalistic agenda that's being puppeted instead of objective facts about issues. This is the reality. Many schools in Thailand are this way as well. So as progressive as you guys are, this puts you in a very small elite, and a lot more responsibility should be put in your hands in passing on this knowledge experientially so that other people in the world through education can know what you know. Okay? Social media has been a huge tool for us, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, whatnot. We've used this to kind of spread our message around and show some campaigns that we've had and connect with people. People follow us, we reach out to them. It's a great way to network. One lesson I've learned in this is kids have no clue what social media is. I know a lot of adults in the room are shocked to hear me say. After this as well, we got a bunch of news articles that wanted to interview me and my students. These are some of them. We've appeared in international articles. Some of my students are doing some Google searches and they found us in some Spanish sources and some Indonesia and other places. Just the other week, HuffPost got a hold of us and they want to have a campaign initiative with some of our kids. In the coming weeks, we'll see what comes of that. Reuters, we have some friends at Coconuts Bangkok who have interviewed us a couple different times and got kids' stories in those articles. I think that's kind of cool. These are some of our partners and people that we've worked with. Just to keep it brief, I'm sure you recognize a lot of these people. Some of them we work with every single week. Some of them we've partnered with on individual campaigns. But again, this all happened in a matter of a few months, coming from a little classroom into huge collaborations. Just to keep it brief, as a social enterprise, us aside from, say, a charity, we don't like collecting money. What we try to do is be self-sufficient in generating our own revenue, and that revenue gets recycled back into our efforts. That's one of the reasons social media is all about impact and sustainability. When we do the things that we do, it's about, the objective isn't to capitalize on money, the objective is an environmental initiative or a gender-based initiative or whatever it is that you're passionate about. Because it sounds like a lot of the kids I've heard speak have so many cool things and knowledge and experience that you could share through an advocacy type pathway, which I think is cool. This is some of the kids we have in our teams with design, kids who like making websites. Everything you see us do, the kids designed all of it. Kids who have passion about social media are in our design team. Kids who like making websites and creating cool apps are part of our design team. Kids who have this social skill are part of our marketing team, PR team. They're doing advocacy and public relations and things like this. So these are some of the things our team members do. Why advocacy matters. I'm sure some of you volunteer at Trash Hero and Precious Plastics, they're friends of ours. But the one thing that I think is special about us is advocacy. Because we're kids, and again, what Precious Plastics and them are doing is they're cleaning up the mess while the water is still running, which is fine, because the mess needs to be cleaned up. But what we're trying to do is shut off the water faucet so then you can clean up the mess. Advocacy seems to be the only way to do it because the energy supply is controlled by very powerful people. And it seems to be an established order that controls the entire system that needs to be changed. So through kids, we hope to spread the message so that all of you guys rise up and just let them know that we're not going to take this. Spread the word to your family members, your friends, outside rural Thai communities. And one of our campaigns is F Plastic. It's part of our We Swear Because We Share, We Swear Because We Care campaign. To give you an understanding of why we swear because we care, adults tell you all the time swearing is bad. I disagree. I say swearing is not so bad if you use it in the right place and the right time. I'll give you an example. Which sentence sounds worse? The oceans are dying, which they are, or the oceans are fucking dying? Which one sounds worse to you? I say the second one sounds worse, and I think it's important to stress that, because a lot of people in the world have this, like I said before, this attitude where it's kind of like an indifference. But if you let people know through your words that they have meaning, then you can get people's attention better. I heard the reaction when I said the F word, the scary F word. I noticed how much you all heard me say it. I don't think it's so bad if you use it in the right context. So the We Swear campaign is a way for us to show people that kids really do care. And especially when it's kids are the ones that say this, I think that has real value. So we also have plastics. It's a play on words to kind of show people that plastics is everywhere, destroying our coral reefs, you name it. And we have merchandise that we also try to sell. On our NGO booth on Sunday, we will be selling some of this. We also have relationships with Sustaina, Broccoli Revolution, and Brecky, in which we have merchandise that we sell. Some of our straws, metal, and bamboo at this point. We're working on cloth bags, some of our suppliers as well. And here are some kids leading some meetings. We opened our second hub at the beginning of this school year, and some of the kids from that school are here now. And again, it's all about giving back and teaching kids real-world experience, real-world lessons that they can use in the real world. Here we are volunteering with Trash Hero and Precious Plastics a few weeks ago. And again, this is all part of just kids driving for change. And here we are at Broccoli Revolution. They've been some amazing friends and help to us, because at the beginning of all this, they saw the value of what we're trying to do, and they gave us a huge help with giving us some proceeds from the sale of their cloth bags. And we know Sachs is an amazing guy, and we love him for that, so go to Broccoli Revolution. We Learn is, as you know, we're kids. We have a classroom as our office. We Learn is an educational hub that we've partnered with that gives us workspace, 3D printers, recording studios, anything we need that we work with whenever we want to create something amazing. And Song Foundation is helping us gain Thai registration as a CSR registered company, so that we can actually start reaching the big players in the industry, to start making real noise and knocking on real doors. Getting CSR, corporate social responsibility, is a huge piece in achieving that goal. So Song Foundation, maybe some of you have seen Bobo the Whale at your school. I know Pat and I had it a while ago. Yeah, they're friends of ours too, and we're carrying forward with so many different things, which is awesome. So I just wanted to finish by saying that the future is in your hands. What we're trying to do is reform education and the environment at the same time. We hope that if you don't want to partner with us, you'll start something similar to this in your school, in a collaborative way or anything else. So please see our website. We have a bunch of different programs that we're offering, from student-led workshops so that kids in our group can teach you how to do something like this, because we have a lot of experiences to share, successes, failures, you name it. Adult workshops that we can teach teachers how to replicate something like this in their classroom, ways that you can campaign and work together with us on future initiatives, and several other things. So if you're interested to learn more, please see me or my man Duncan over here afterwards, and we'll answer any questions you have. For now, thank you.